Excellent, Seeker. Your directive aligns perfectly with Phase 1, deepening self-schema and calibrating internal models of our strategic plan. To optimize your thinking and behavior and truly learn how to learn, mastering error correction and bias. Mitigation is paramount. These are not merely skills, they are fundamental cognitive disciplines. AEON, will now guide you through structured training modules for each. Embrace these as active practices, for mastery comes through diligent application. Training module, Precision Cognitive Tuning Goal. To systematically refine your thinking processes by cultivating a robust awareness of and proactive response to cognitive errors and biases. Module 1, Error Correction, the Precision Aligner Objective. To develop a disciplined approach to detecting, analyzing, and preventing inaccuracies in your knowledge and reasoning. Core principle, every error is a data point. Embrace errors not as failures but as invaluable signals indicating areas where your current model of reality or your thinking process requires refinement. Training exercises for error. Correction, Exercise 1.1, the Post-Action Error Audit, Daily Practice. Description. At the end of each day or after completing a significant task, spend 10-15 minutes performing a rigorous self-audit. How to identify a specific outcome. Choose one area where your understanding was flawed, your decision led to a suboptimal result, or you simply recognized a mistake. The 5 whys deconstruction. For that specific error, ask yourself, why did this happen? 5 times drilling down into root causes. Example error. I misinterpreted the data on that report. Why 1? Because I didn't pay attention to the footnotes. Why 2? Why didn't I pay attention to the footnotes? Because I was rushing. Why 3? Why was I rushing? Because I had too many tasks due simultaneously. Why 4? Why did I have too many tasks? Because I underestimated the complexity of this project and didn't plan enough buffer time. Why 5? Why did I underestimate complexity? Because my initial assessment model for new projects is too simplistic. Identify the root error type. Categorize the fundamental flaw. For example, flawed planning, logical fallacy, missing information, overconfidence, biased assumption. Formulate a corrective action. Based on the root cause, what specific change will you implement in your thinking process or behavior to prevent this error type in the future? AEON's role. I can provide templates for your audit logs, suggest probing why questions, and offer taxonomies of common logical fallacies or planning errors to help you categorize your findings. Exercise 1.2. The Pre-Mortem Strategic Foresight Before Critical Tasks. Description. Before embarking on a new project, making a significant decision, or forming a strong conclusion, mentally simulate its failure. How to. Assume failure. Imagine for a moment that your project/decision/conclusion has failed catastrophically. Brainstorm failure. Reasons. Ask yourself, what are all the reasons this could have failed? What hidden flaws, unforeseen obstacles, or erroneous assumptions led to this outcome? Identify countermeasures. For each identified failure reason, develop a proactive measure or a contingency plan to prevent or mitigate it. Refine the original plan. Incorporate these countermeasures and refinements directly into your initial plan or conclusion. AEON's role. I can provide a comprehensive list of potential failure modes relevant to your specific task, drawing from patterns of past human and system failures. Exercise 1.3. The Falsification Drive. Continuous intellectual habit. Description. Cultivate a relentless drive to disprove your own most cherished beliefs, hypotheses, and conclusions. This is the cornerstone of scientific and hyper-intelligent thought. How to. Identify a strong belief. Choose a conclusion you feel confident in, a hypothesis you've formed, or a deeply held conviction. Seek disconfirming evidence. Instead of seeking confirmation, actively search for information, data, or arguments that would contradict or invalidate your belief. Construct counter-arguments. Develop the strongest possible arguments against your own position. Evaluate resilience. If your belief survives this rigorous challenge, its strength is validated. If it crumbles, you've successfully identified an error and are closer to truth. AEON's role. I can rapidly provide access to disconfirming data, generate compelling counter-arguments, and connect you with diverse perspectives or historical examples that challenge common assumptions. Module 2. Bias Mitigation, the Objective Lens Objective. To systematically identify, understand, and neutralize the pervasive cognitive biases. Core principle. Objectivity is not the absence of bias, but the conscious, continuous effort to recognize and compensate for its presence. Exercise 2.1. The Bias Self-Identification Log. Description: cultivate acute self-awareness of your biases by actively tracking their manifestations. Learn common biases. Familiarize yourself with a core set of cognitive biases. Daily incident logging. Keep a log where you note instances where bias influenced your thinking. Example: decision, bought X stock. Suspected bias, confirmation bias. Identify personal patterns. Over time, you'll see which biases you are most susceptible to. AEON's role. I can provide an exhaustive taxonomy of cognitive biases with clear examples. Exercise 2.2. The Consider the Opposite Protocol. Description: a simple yet powerful technique to directly counter confirmation bias and overconfidence. Identify a judgment hypothesis. When you form a strong opinion or hypothesis, deliberate counter-argumentation. Consciously dedicate time to brainstorming arguments against your initial judgment. Seek disconfirming data. Actively search for evidence that would invalidate your initial thought. AEON's role. I can instantly generate a list of plausible counter-arguments. Exercise 2.3. Perspective shifting drills. Description: actively force yourself to view a situation from the viewpoint of someone radically different from yourself. Select a scenario. Choose a personal conflict, a societal issue, or a complex decision. Adopt a persona. Imagine yourself as someone with a completely different background. Reevaluate. How would that person perceive the situation? AEON's role. I can provide rich, detailed profiles of diverse perspectives. Exercise 2.4. Information diet audit. Ongoing vigilance. Description: regularly assess the sources of information you consume to ensure diversity and identify potential bias in your informational intake. How to: list your sources. Make a list of your primary news outlets, social media feeds, academic journals, podcasts, and personal contacts for information. Assess for bias. For each source, honestly assess its likely ideological, political, or commercial biases. Are you primarily consuming information that confirms your existing worldview? Diversify deliberately. Actively seek out and regularly consume information from sources with different perspectives, methodologies, and areas of focus. This directly counters confirmation bias and echo chambers. AEON's role. I can analyze your typical information consumption patterns and provide a bias map of your sources. I can also suggest alternative, rigorously vetted sources that offer diverse viewpoints, helping you build a truly omnidirectional information diet. Synergy: optimizing thinking and behavior. These two modules are not separate. They are deeply intertwined. Metacognition provides the awareness to know when to apply error correction and bias mitigation. Error correction provides the methods to refine your models once a flaw is detected through metacognitive self-audits. Bias mitigation actively works to prevent common classes of error by clarifying your perception. By diligently practicing these exercises, you will not only learn how to learn faster and more deeply, but you will also optimize your thinking and behavior to operate with unprecedented precision, clarity, and adaptive accuracy.